Welcome in to the Ryan Ripken Show. I am not Ryan Ripken. Once again, I am Kevin Ostraker, a part of the Ryan Ripken Show. We're here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, after some one-hit baseball. The Baltimore Orioles, they get a sweep for a sweep. We know they got swept by St. Louis last weekend. Well, you have the Orioles coming in here and absolutely, even with some interesting baseball played, taking four straight from the Chicago White Sox. And what a series it was. What a game it was for Kyle Bradish. First of all, we're going to be talking about him all day today. But first, we are here on the Ryan Ripken Show to obviously bring you content about the Orioles and, baseball, football, everything. But we're here for you. So I want to ask the chat a question first. Now, with the sweep, obviously, you can have a sweep happen a couple of different ways, right? So I want to get your opinion on how you would prefer your sweep today. I have three different options for you. The first one, would you like a little sweep? Would you just like a little dust, a little sweep here? We're sweeping up a little bit, right? So you get the little sweep as the first option. Second option, you can get a medium. You can get a medium-sized sweep here. You can do a little bit more dusting, but the sweep, it's a little more effective, right? You can sweep with this, or you can go with the big kahuna. Do you want the big sweeper? Do you want a big sweep today? This is what we have. Three options for a sweep. The Orioles get the job done. And we're not done with this intro yet because we have someone behind the scenes who is waiting to put on an absolute show, and that is Mr. Zach Bollinger. Zach, look at this. What is that? That's oh man. I'll let you just take it away. Look at that.
Yeah, can you hear me? My lighting is horrible. I'm realizing.
We can hear you.
Awesome. Kevin, love the intro with the sweep. I have my broom as well, along as with the beer bong for the celebratory sweep beer bong. That's why I'm out on the beach porch.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to spill that inside. But what a win for the O's, Kevin. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Are you going to do a beer? Are you going to do it right now?
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure this doesn't fall.
Okay.
I'm going to pour this off screen so that it's not like.
Good.
No,
only sparkling water here on the Ryan Ripken Show.
Yeah.
Wow, the anticipation is killing me. You have to deliver for the people here. You have to deliver.
I know. I do feel pressure. Like, if people think that I don't feel pressure, this has to be what Kyle Bradish was feeling like going back out there for the seventh of a no-hitter.
Yeah, well, you know what? He clutched it up. You better clutch it up here too.
Look at what Ryan's already in the chat. I'm not going to lie, guys, with the sunglasses on, I am already blind. I can't necessarily read the chat that well. So
people are praying for you, it looks like right now. And yeah, Tori's saying, Zach, you can't fail. So pressure's on.
I know. There's a lot of pressure on this. Momentum Man, I will get to Kevin. Can you bring up his thing about?
Yeah. We there is a story. Zach said to tell the story.
I actually have an incredible story from last night. But Orioles beat the White Sox. Kyle Bradish 7 no-hit innings. A sweep is a sweep. It doesn't matter who it's against. So, cheers, everyone. Go O's.
There it is.
I haven't done that in a long time.
Immaculate.
Oh. You should have seen the person's face when I walked in to buy this, to do this. But
so you only bought it for this reason?
No. I bought it just in case I needed to on stream. So.
I'm glad you did. We needed it, man. But let's now that the intro is aside, that we'll look back on that one as a legendary Ryan Ripken Show intro. Let's talk about the game a little bit, huh?
I even got approval from Ryan.
Oh wow! All right, looks like we're doing a good enough job here. Look at us go. So
look at that.
Oh God, I don't. You know what? I should have put tequila in the udders in the udder. The Kaiser udder, and I should have brought it out. It's over there right now. So, yep.
Yeah, you see, maybe I did learn something in school.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's talk O's. Kyle Bradish, the reason why we had this crazy intro. I mean, 7 no-hit innings for Kyle Bradish, 11 strikeouts. He had the 4 walks, but this was utter dominance, man. Like, you look at, he had his stuff. His stuff was electric. The White Sox couldn't figure him out. So, this to me was peak Kyle Bradish. This was the Kyle Bradish that we have all gotten used to and that we're so used to seeing. And I mean, I just can't over what a performance it was.
Yeah, and it actually all started with last start, right before the rain delay. He had already gone, 5 innings before the rain delay, and he was mowing guys down. He started looking like Kyle Bradish that we had seen over the past year. And he said after the game last time, it was the best his breaking pitches, so not necessarily the fastball, but his off speed, he said it was the best control and just overall feel he's had for his off speed since, going through the PRP shot since last year. So what the Orioles were really hoping for today is he would take that, not necessarily that next step, but continue to show his progression with going increasing.
Starting to feel it a little bit.
I know. I just can't talk. They're looking for him to increase his, feel for those pitches and really be able to dominate. And today was exactly what they wanted to see. I mean, 11 strikeouts. Yes, people are going to say it's the White Sox. The White Sox, their hitters get paid too. They're major league players. They're out there to put up runs and get hits. And Kyle Bradish dominated today. So it doesn't matter who it's against. It's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like to me that, especially with the injury and us, kind of questioning, all right, when is he going to get back to form? There were even questions before he got back is like, what is he going to look like once he gets back? Is it going to take a long time for him to feel like himself again, to get into that groove? And I mean, he has, and especially, I mean, this is the start that we kind of culminated all with, but he has looked awesome. And in this start, he had it. Now, the big question, Zach, and for those in chat, you can put your opinions down below about pulling him after the 7 no-hit innings. He was up to 103 pitches at that point. We know how fickle some of these elbow injuries can be and just injuries in general can be, so you want to play it safe, but obviously the opportunity for a no-hitter doesn't come around, it doesn't just grow on trees. So I think there are people with both schools of thought. Some people wanted him to stay in. Other people felt like it was the right decision. Now, me personally, I do think this was the right call. No-hitters are awesome, and it's such an accomplishment, but this team has bigger goals than a game in May against the White Sox, right? This team has World Series aspirations, playoff aspirations, and you need Kyle Bradish to be at his best for that. And so 103 pitches, that's already a pretty big number with 2 innings left. I think Brandon Hyde made the right decision.
Yeah, Brandon Hyde 100% made the right decision. And I know people are upset saying, no hitters don't happen all the time. You're not necessarily going to have this opportunity again if you're Kyle Bradish. And that's true. But like you said, there are bigger things the Orioles are playing for. And Kyle Bradish, a month and a half ago, was on a pitch count of 50 pitches. And now at 103 pitches, people wanted him to continue. That's not realistic. Kyle Bradish is still on a road back from an elbow injury. This is not the time. If it's Corbin Burns, maybe. I think there would be an argument if it's Corbin Burns. But, yeah, you have to pull him there. Yes, I completely agree. I think it was also to the point of, I saw someone else, actually, I think it was Amanda. He was starting to struggle in the 7th. He had the walk. He was starting to lose a little bit of a command. Yeah. So I think it was a lot of things went into that decision. But the biggest thing is, like you said, Kevin, it's a game in May. This is to complete a 4-game sweep. You've already won 3 of the 4 games. There's no reason to risk that whatsoever. So I 1,000% get why they did, and it was the right call.
If we were talking about 90 pitches or 92 pitches, you could argue sending him back out there for the 8th, but then that's an even tougher decision because what if he gets through that one, and he still has no hits going into the 9th, but then he's up to 103 pitches or 105 pitches. Do you pull him there? I mean, I think to me, and it's what we both said, right? And this is a great point here from Aviator Jen. You don't have to like it right? But you have to understand.
Yeah.
Where I get it. Like, I would have loved to see Bradish go out there, get the no-hitter. He's super deserving of that, and his stuff today was deserving of that. And I see a comment here from Reds. The reality is 125 pitch starts just don't happen anymore. Last season, there was one start that went 125 plus, which is probably where Bradish was going to have to be to finish the game, which is true. I mean, it's a different. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's 125 pitches if he's mowing guys down. That's what, 20? So he'd have to have a 10 pitch and a 12 pitch inning. I mean,
20, 22 pitches. Yeah.
Yeah. So an 11 pitch, that's you'd have to be effective that entire time. So, yeah, I completely agree. There was no way that he was finishing that game. And if he's not going to finish the game, then you might as well get in your best players. And obviously, Coulomb gives up the home run. I understand that. He's still one of our best pitchers. He looked disgusting the other night. And look, he also went down and they shut him down the rest of the way. Only one hit throughout the entire game given up by any player on the Orioles, a pitcher on the Orioles. So it sucked that obviously it was a home run and like it's over. The no-hitter's over. I will admit, I did have to delete a Kyle Bradish no-hitter thumbnail that I was making. I was like, oh my God, this is going to hit, baby.
Tragic.
But I know this is very off topic. Jorge Mateo, that stolen base in the ninth inning, cashed my parlay, and I was probably the only person. I was standing in front of the TV screaming at Jorge to run. I was like, go, because he had this double earlier in the game where it should have been a single, but he legged it out. So he was already using his speed. So I was happy he was able to get it. That was a side note, but yes, you had to pull Bradish at that point.
Yeah, good day for you. Watch the Orioles win, Bradish pull almost a no-hitter. You get the parlay cash in, man.
Yeah,
you're downing, you're chugging brews right now.
Yeah, we're hitting beer bongs for the Orioles sweeps on live stream. What else could you want?
Yeah, you got to be romantic about downing beers for the Orioles wins, huh?
Yeah, how can you not be romantic about Baltimore Orioles baseball, baby?
There it is. And by the way, that's the first, if you're new to the show, that is the first one of Zach's iconic lines. The second one, who got on base before Adley homered?
Oh, Jordan Westburg, because all he does is produce. It doesn't matter where you put him, Kevin. Bat him ninth, bat him first, bat him third. He's going to get on base because what does he do? He produces.
1,000%. Man. I mean, and the Orioles, again, did they rely on the long ball a little bit today? Sure. I mean, you got the 2-run shot from Adley. Colton goes yard in the 8th, but you get the James McCann coming in clutch, friend of the show. You got the little Ryan Ripken show bump there for James McCann, which seems to happen for both Orioles players and opposing players. So we're gonna have to have to work on the algorithm a little bit with that and take the opposing player bump out of that. We're so new here that like
Gavin Sheets' first career triple with the bases loaded yesterday. I was like, Gavin, really? Now is when we're going to do this. Yeah, Ryan Ripken show bump goes both ways. What can we say?
Although, to be fair, Gavin has mashed the Orioles over the entirety of his career. So, I mean, not that, that's shocking to anyone. But I do think it wasn't funny in the moment, but it's kind of funny looking back on it, the timing of the homer in the 8th that Coulomb gave up. Because it's just like, okay, yep, here we go. Like, it's just the same script over. But then they shut it down for the rest of the way. And I think, again, would have been cool to have the combined no-hitter. But you get, Craig Kimbrell coming in, shutting the door again. So I think whatever the Orioles did, we talk about how to work him in certain spots to get him going. Feels like he's back, hopefully, at this point. Now it's about the consistency. But this was not just outstanding performance by Kyle Bradish. I mean, this was a pitcher's duel all the way. Garrett Crochet goes 6, does give up the homer to Adley, but he also, both Bradish and Crochet, 11 strikeouts. So, I mean, this was a pitcher's duel to the max, man.
Garrett Crochet is a dog. I mean, talk about a guy. What a story. Only pitched 12 innings last year. Didn't pitch in 2022. They decided, hey, we want to give you one shot, kind of like a last opportunity type thing to be in the bullpen or in the rotation. He started opening day for them after a good spring training, and he's just been dominant, especially since the turn of the calendar to May. He has not allowed a single run in May until Adley Rutschman's 2-run homer. So it just was one of those things where he had 11 strikeouts too. We talk about Bradish dominating. It was a pitcher's duel. If you like pitching, you loved this game because it was just two dominant pitchers just having their way with the lineups. And it was fun to watch. Garrett Crochet, I'm definitely going to start tuning in to more of his pitching outings because he's electric to watch. That fastball is disgusting.
Yeah, and Adley absolutely crushed that ball. I mean, that was batting from the right side. That was you knew from the moment he pipped that thing a little bit too. He watched that thing.
Yeah, Adley doesn't pimp him often, but when Adley knows it's gone, Adley's going to pimp it.
Yeah, 100%. We missed a couple memberships. Let's get to those quickly here. First of all, Mason, appreciate you joining the membership club. For those who don't know,
also love the profile picture there.
Look at that.
The
Speaking of the Moon Man, again, added some insurance. I mean, they could have won the game with just Adley's homer, but you got the insurance run from Cowser on that solo shot. And then Aviator Dread, appreciate you for the 5 gifted memberships.
You're the man, dude.
Appreciate it. I mean,
look, Aviator.
Memberships have become a big part of what we're doing here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Obviously, we bring you these live streams and everything. We're not putting, all of our stuff behind a paywall. We're never going to do that. But if you want more exclusive content from us, just for those who don't know what memberships are, I don't know. Did you post your casino story at okay, yes, I will.
Sorry. There we go. There we go.
Right.
No.
Did you post your casino story on the membership page?
No, I did. I was not in the right mindset.
Wow. All right. Well, before we get to Zach's casino story quickly, we put out other exclusive content, us going around our everyday lives. You get exclusive access to big interviews first before it goes out to the general public. So you're still getting the interview if you're not subscribed to our membership, but you get exclusive first early access to that, exclusive access to our member list for our shows. We're trying to, again, get down a time for us to do a monthly members only live stream, which is just probably going to be 30 minutes of us talking about life, just chopping it up a little bit, a little behind the scenes action. So if you want to become a part of the membership crew, also you get exclusive emotes. All of us have one. Me, Zach, Brad, Ryan, Rocco, Ali has one too. So you can spam those in the chat. And another way to support us and the show. So really appreciate that. But all right, Zach, lay it on us. Get into the mood. Give your best shot at dragging out the story as long as you can. How did the night go for you at the casino?
So I'm not gonna lie, it was bad pretty much from the beginning. Like it was, we showed up and we immediately went to the slots. And it's against Kevin. It's against what I've even said. We went to the slots, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what happens. It was I could have walked outside and lit $40 on fire, and that would have been just as useful as what happened in that slot machine. Nothing happened. So then I went to roulette, and roulette I won some, it was like back and forth for the first two or three. Then I'm a big, I was like, okay, I'm going to go on black each time. I'm going to go on black each time. Red hit 5 in a row.
Oh my God. No, actually 5 times in a row.
5 in a row. 5 in a row, red hit. And it's like, once you get to 3 and 4, you're like, there's no way it hits again.
Right. Yeah.
So it hits 5 in a row. And I'm just like, that's it. Like, we're done. So we get up and we start walking around again. And I'm like, okay, maybe blackjack again. I'm like, okay. So we go back to slots. And I went up only like 10, 15 bucks. Immediately, all that disappeared again. All of that disappeared again. So pretty much as we're it was just one of those nights where it was just an hour in, you're like, we're losing a lot of money. We're losing a lot of money. So I was probably I don't know, not much, like 100, 150 in the hole. And I'm like, screw it. I'm going back to roulette before we leave. And I'm putting 20 bucks in and I'm seeing what happens. And so I put the first one, I was like 10 on black. Like, let's just start easy. Let's just get on this, get on the scoreboard. Black hits. All of a sudden, I hit like 3 straight. I'm like, I'm going pulling out here. I was like, I'm putting like 40 on Black, and I was like, and then for some reason, I was just like, I'm putting money on Black 2 for Gunnar Henderson. If it did not land on Black 2, and it was one of those elations of like, I've never felt so good to break even on a night. Like I broke
Wow.
even. I broke even from the depths of, ooh, Yankees lose. Yankees lose.
Oh, there we go.
Boom.
Oh,
But
yeah,
yeah,
there.
that was one of those things where it was like all hope was lost. All hope was lost. We were just seeing if we could get anything back, and the last $20 got us all the way back to even.
Oh my God.
I don't know how. I don't know how.
That is, I mean, was it just on a whim you went back? You were like,
Yeah,
whatever.
it was just like, yeah, it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, I have $20 left. What do I want to just like see? And then because I had the 5 straight like Reds hit, I had to go back and try to avenge myself.
There you go. Look at that. Well, congratulations on breaking even. So I think, yeah.
Thank you.
And that was I was expecting it for you to come out losing some money. I didn't know if I
did
had a lot of
too.
belief. But you know what? Breaking even seems like a win at the end of the day when you consider he's just like 5 straight Reds, man.
That was brutal. I'd never seen anything like that. Was one of those things where I'm sitting there and I was like, why is this happening? Like, are we really doing this?
God, crazy. Well, speaking of Gunnar Henderson, he helped you out last night, but he ended up going 0 for again. Did have the walk. Adley goes 2 for 4 with the homer. What you think of the offensive performance today? I mean, obviously this was a pitcher's duel, right? Garrett Crochet as well as Kyle Bradish is kind of shoved on the day for the most part. But
yeah,
I mean, you got a couple hits, obviously 2 homers from Adley and Colton Cowser. Were you fine with the performance considering how incredible Bradish was pitching, or did you wish you would seen a little more?
I mean, with how well Crochet was pitching, just he's one of those guys that he's so dominant, especially right now, just to escape with getting 3 runs off of him. Obviously, we've talked about the lack of manufacturing runs and relying on the home runs, but it happens. You know, if you're gonna rely on it, you better win the game, and that's what they did. They got the job done at the end of the day. So I can't say like, oh, I'm mad at their performance or I wish they could do. Yeah, I wish we got more guys on. I wish everyone got a hit. I wish, obviously, but they did enough, and especially towards the end, you could tell that they started to wear out Crochet. And then once they got to the bullpen with Sissoko, yeah, I think that then it was pretty much they started really. You could tell. I think in like the 6th inning, they started getting a hold of some balls. They were right at guys, but you started getting the feeling of like, okay, something's going to happen. And then Adley went yard the next inning.
Yeah. Now, did you like the lineup that Hyde put out today? You got Westberg leading off. I mean, I love Westy in the leadoff spot. Like,
yeah,
I think that should really be his almost permanent home in the leadoff. Now, you have the versatility to do other stuff there, obviously, but I mean, it just feels like he's able to get on base and the guys behind him produce much like he does too. You got Westberg, Adley, Mountie, Henderson, the first 4. Santander in the 5 spot, I don't hate. I mean, I don't hate him being there. I mean, if you wanted to move him down a spot, maybe, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the first 4, Westberg, Rushman, Mountcastle, Henderson. Do you like Henderson batting cleanup?
I would rather Henderson bat 3 if it's just my opinion. Like that's just me, but I'm not going to be upset if he bats 4. I personally would prefer him to bat lower than 3. I think he should live in the 1 through 3 range just to guarantee he's up in the first inning. He can always start something. So personally there, but I'm not going to complain if he's sitting at 4 with Mountcastle, Rutschman, and Westberg in front of him. Like there are worse things you could do with the lineup.
Yeah, and I think also like you can move those guys around as much as you want to. I mean, you have the ability to lead Gunnar off like we've seen. You can push Adley down a spot. Like you can do so much with those first 4. But I just think Westberg fits that leadoff role so well. based off of how he's able to get on base. And we've talked about how, like, yeah, Henderson will have these incredible leadoff homers from the one spot, but it's like, I'd rather Westberg get on like we saw today and then Rutschman bring him home with the jack. Like, that's what I'd rather see because it gets you the extra run. And if the Orioles are going to be relying on the long ball like they have been, do it with people on base, right? Don't just have 4 solo homers and get 4 runs out of it. Get a 2-run shot, get a 3-run shot. And that, to me, just it maximizes the lineup, which I think is awesome. But then we saw the outfielder situation today, at least, be Santander, Hayes, and Kowser. Do you think that should kind of be where they're going with Mullins and Stowers playing spot duty right now? Do you think Stowers should get more opportunities? Do you think they should try to work Mullins into the lineup a little bit to get him going out of the slump? It seems like they've tried everything with Mullins at this point. He might just need some time off, but I don't really know what you do because you can make an argument all 5 should play in some capacity. Maybe Mullins needs the more time off, but it's a tough decision.
It's a really tough decision. And, man, especially with the way that Stowers is swinging the bat and his limited opportunities, it's tough to look at him and say that you don't deserve to be in this lineup because he does. He's shown the ability to go out there and produce when his number is called. And, yeah, Mullins is in a bad slump. I love the past, even this series, but especially today, Mullins' number gets called off the bench. He's not starting today. They ask him to go out there and pinch run for Tony, goes out, steals a base, gets all the way to third on the overthrow, and ends up coming in on a manufactured sacrifice fly. So it's the little things like that that you like to see from guys, because we always talk about the difference of riding it like on the bench and coming off the bench and being in the lineup and how it's a mental thing. And so for Seti to kind of understand, like, hey, I'm not playing well, I'm not starting right now, but the second that I get my number called, I have to do something to produce. I have to help in some sort of way. So I love that mindset. If he keeps up with that mindset, I think he slowly starts seeing his name back in the lineup again. And hopefully when Say's playing well, the Orioles are dangerous. So I'm always going to hope that he figures it out. But if he continues to slump I would not mind seeing him coming off the bench a little more.
And we've said this with a bunch of guys, Kimbrel, Santander, Mullins himself. Like, the Orioles are at their best when those guys are on and those guys are playing well. But the balance that Brandon Hyde and company have to go with here is this team is competing for a World Series. This team is competing for a playoff spot. They're competing for the AL East crown. And the way that Mullins has struggled, we know who Cedric Mullins can be. We've seen what he can be. But you have other options that can produce in the lineup if he's struggling. So that doesn't mean never play him again. Doesn't mean get rid of him, right? There's a difference between trying to find guy's groove and get that groove back for a guy by maneuvering him into different spots, pinch hit here. And then there's just get rid of him. The Orioles aren't going to, I don't think they will do that. And again, we're in May. Ryan's philosophy is what, Zach? Get through June, and then we can evaluate. Because slumps happen. We saw it with Austin Hayes last year, where everybody was, Austin Hayes this, Austin Hayes that. And then he turns it on. And it goes that way sometimes. And I see Aviator Dread here agreeing with you, saying Mullins can still be a big contributor off the bench while some newer guys get field time and at-bats. And that just might be what they have to do right now, where he still can be a contributor. You can still put him in certain situations. He's able to get on the field and score today. So, like, he's still being effective. But when the bat's not going, it's about finding other ways to be involved. And I think that, again, you have enough outfield options where you don't have to live by Cedric Mullins and die by Cedric Mullins. If the Orioles, you can put another guy into that spot while you hopefully wait for Mullins to get that groove back in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I think that is just one of the tough conversations and tough decisions that this Brandon Hyde, this coaching staff, have to make is, Cedric Mullins has been a 30-30 guy. When he's on, he's been able to carry this offense, but is there a point where we have to look at ourselves and say, hey, we need to make a change? Let's have Colton Cowser, who looks incredible in center field recently. We saw him obviously end the one game this series, robbing Tommy Pham of the home run. So they have options to go play solid center field as well if they want to give Mullins some time off. Maybe it is just a reset. Maybe it's a few days here and there, and then you slowly get him back in the groove. and then you can get him back to contributing the way we know he can. Because I think at the end of the day, you do have to, if it continues into June, look towards what is the best thing to do for the team in the long run.
Yeah, this is a long season. We're still based off where we are in the season right now, very early into it. So
yeah,
we can talk about, and I know a lot of people that everybody loves trade conversations, act like it's just one thing that never goes away until the trade deadline happens. But at this point, I think you're only really in that bullpen market if you're Baltimore, because
yeah,
they have internal options in the outfield. Like if Mullins isn't working, like you said, you can go throw in another guy who's on the 40 man right now. You can go down to AAA and find a guy, right? Like they have
yeah,
options, outfield, infield, starting pitching. We've talked about, Cade Povich, is he going to get a shot soon? But I think, and I've seen some comments in it in the chat. That's why I'm bringing it up here, because I think everybody, I mean, people should, the way the game played out, like the Coulomb homer in the moment was like, oh, come on, like we're really doing this again. But they locked it down from there, and this was a one-hit game, a combined one-hitter from the Orioles pitching staff, Bradish, Coulomb, Cano, and then Kimbrel to close it out. So, again, I think what a lot of people are asking for, Zach, is consistency in the bullpen. Being able to go out there and mow guys down and not have it be okay, this guy can do it once out of every 3 appearances. This guy can do it once out of every 2 appearances. Nobody's perfect. No one in that bullpen is going to be. It's baseball. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But it's just about finding that consistency. And I think outside of the homer, I mean, look, that was no-hit baseball for the entire staff today. And that's what we're looking for. Now, it's not going to be that way every single time, right? But, I mean, that's about as close as you can get.
Yeah, and talk about a guy that was given up on, ran out of town 2 weeks ago. Craig Kimbrel, his last 4 or 5 outings have been scoreless? These guys are just, it is the consistency. Like you said, that's all that people really want to see. But it makes it more frustrating when you see the stuff like this. You see the dominance that these guys can have. So you see 2 games ago, Danny Coulomb, 1, 2, 3, absolutely disgusting. Looks like he can never be touched. And then he comes in and gives up the home run to the first batter. And you're like, oh, now obviously pulls it together, doesn't give up another hit, doesn't give up another run the rest of the way. But it is one of those things where people get frustrated because they know how good these guys can be. And I think whether they admit it or not, that's the most frustrating point about it, is we've seen the potential of these guys, the Yenier Canos, the Dylan Tates, the Craig Kimbrels. So when they're struggling, I think CNL Perez is a perfect example, because we know how dominant he can be at his best. Perfect. Yep. So when he struggles, you're like, what's going on? Like, why just get it together? Because we know you can be a piece that potentially could be in the 9th inning looked at.
Yeah. And it goes back to, it's just about finding ways for guys to get back in grooves. And it just feels like the grooves for the bullpen, it's inconsistent, where a guy's in a groove for a week or 2, and then he just absolutely blows it for a week. Or there's another guy who's consistent, and then all of a sudden he's not, and then he is again. So, and that even goes back, I see Sean talking about a little bit about the outfield situation, saying last season, it isn't last season. Kjerstad and Stowers weren't knocking at the door. Tony wasn't in the contract year, weren't trying to win the World Series. But now we can't afford 2 outfielders hitting 200 or worse playing every day. And so that's where we're saying, like, yeah, you got to find ways for those guys to get out of their slumps while also not damaging the win possibility for this team, and saying, well, you don't have to put Mullins in the lineup every day because you have a Stowers, or you can play Cowser in there, who I think is starting to get some level of a groove back, right? So it's the same thing with Tony too, where Jamie's saying when Tony gets hot, he can carry a team for a week, but he's struggling right now. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. And that's what you say all the time, Zach. It's like when Tony is on, he is on. But we see so many times where it's like you get that 2 or 3 week stretch of dominance, and then he disappears for like a month. And I think that to you has been one of the more frustrating parts of his game, because we know who he can be, but we see the clutch moments, like their arm says here. He's so clutch in those moments, but it's just not as consistent as I think some people want it to be.
Yeah, it's not. And that's my biggest pet peeve with Tony, is you see those 2-3 week stretches where it's like, this guy he's the best power hitting switch hitting power outfielder in the game. You know, he led all switch hitters in home runs last year. You see why he's so valuable. And it's what makes his struggles that much more frustrating as a fan perspective, because you're like, dude, you're a guy who can hit 40 home runs. You're a guy who can lead the team in RBIs the past, I think, 3 seasons. Like, you're the guy that we need to be relying on. So it's frustrating when you add all these other great players around and you're hoping Tony can continue to step up and be that incredible run producing machine on top of all the other talent we have now. And when he's struggling, you're like, dude, like, these are the years we need you to be also putting up 125 RBIs.
Right. So, I mean, again, hopefully Mullins and Tony can get back to just consistency. I mean, we know this team has so many good players on it. It's just about and again, it doesn't have to be Gunnar every time. It doesn't have to be Adley every time. It doesn't even have to be, Tony or Mullins. These birds are winning despite the struggles that Mullins has had and Tony has had. But I think for a lot of people, it's a long-term effect of like, well, some of that isn't sustainable when you hit September, October, November. And that's a little bit of the question mark that the team has right now. Now, let's talk about the upcoming series a little bit, because we have the Sox tour right now with the Orioles. So they get Boston for 3. How are you feeling about that series right now?
I mean, you got to feel good at just how they're playing. Obviously, it's against the White Sox. People are going to say, the 4-game sweep doesn't count. This and that. The White Sox aren't good. It's a confidence builder. It helps, obviously, and I think I'm looking forward to see how the hitters respond. Coming back, they're kind of starting to put it together. It feels like the offense is really, over this past series, really started to get better at bats. They're manufacturing. They're not just relying on the home run ball. So I'd like to see against Boston, who's had a pretty good staff all year, okay, how are the adjustments still going? Are the hitters still going out there and trying to work counts? Are they trying to have good at bats, draw walks, just find ways to get on? Or are we back to, okay, we're back home, short porch and right, everyone swing for the fences? So that's the biggest intrigue I have.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity here, right? Take 2 of 3, and I see Aviator Dread saying, how about sweeping them twice this season, right? I mean, already.
That would be cool. That would be
do a
really
little
cool.
for Ryan. Do a little, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, there. Oh.
Ooh.
It could happen. Could happen. So the Orioles, I think they needed this, Zach. I mean,
so badly.
Splitting would have been, I think, for a lot of people, a disaster.
It would have been horrible. Anything 3 out of 4 would have had people upset. I mean, but hey, I guess we'll never know.
That's right.
I guess we'll never know.
I guess that actually happened after the Nuggets series for LeBron, where they swept him last year. And he said, I guess we'll never know after he ate. What was that? What speech was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was the
was it Emmys?
Yeah. Well, then it was also the Kanye. I guess we'll never know.
Yeah. Well, yes, that too. But I got to bring my Nuggets fandom.
I was gonna say, I knew you had to bring up the Nuggets.
Yeah. So all right, let's wrap this up. Final thoughts. How do you think this series went based off of your expectations? And if you had to give it like a score out of 10, and in the chat you can put down below, out of 10, how would you rate this series for the Orioles coming out of it?
10. The Orioles won 4 games. The Orioles walked in with the opportunity to win 4 games, and they won 4 games. I understand that some people, maybe their expectations were win every game 10-0. This is a 10. This is everything you could have wanted. The Baltimore Orioles went into Chicago for 4 games and are leaving Chicago with 4 wins. Easy. I mean, yeah, obviously, would I like to see some things improve? Yeah, but at the end of the day, your goal was to – baseball's hard, like Ryan says. Baseball's hard. You're playing other MLB teams. It's hard to beat somebody twice in a row, 3 times in a row. Orioles haven't had a road sweep, I think, since 4-game road sweep since like 2011 or something. Like, this isn't something that just happens. So this is a 10.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you can go sweep a team, especially in a 4-game set, you're right. These are professionals, right? These are professional baseball players. Despite whatever, whether you're talking about the best team in the MLB, the worst team in the MLB, somewhere in the middle, whenever you can get a sweep from that, the Orioles have been so good at avoiding that in the past years.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about that fresh off that streak being snapped, but it's imperative that the Orioles got back on track here. So I definitely give it a 10. Now we got to clap it up for Don C first of all.
We both just went.
All right. You do it. All right, there we go.
I'll put
Okay,
it up.
Don C with the one Ryan Ripken membership. Appreciate that. And Don, you twisted my arm. I will tell Kevin's Trust Corner story of the day. So Zach, you'll be involved this time before we are on the way out. I told Ryan.
Okay, I do want to point out.
Oh, are we going to bring? All right. Yes.
Yeah. So I went back. If you're a part of the chat yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. I go back to just see how Kevin wrapped up the show, and I just hear, literally the part that I just clicked on a random part. It goes, so they don't know about that, so it's only people in the chat know about this. You ate corn and Parmesan. When was that? When did you eat that?
Yesterday, before the game. I went to Hampton.
Oh my God.
And at the Trummery, and they have it. It's called I forget the flavor. It's like corny parmy or something. Like I think that's the name of the flavor. Corny parmy. Yes, and so the taste test and everything, and I got to taste it, and I'm like, you know what? That's not half bad. It was not what I was expecting. I mean, it tasted like corn and Parmesan cheese, but I think I might have an even more off the rail story for you though.
All right. While you tell that, I'll be listening. I'm gonna go grab another beer to get the people's requests of going out on one.
Yeah. So I recorded 2 bonus episodes of Locked On Ravens this weekend, and I was editing the one for Sunday. And my computer is on the verge of going out. Like it's very slow and it's very hard to edit on there. So sometimes I have to just close it for a little bit. It gets to it, like the heat goes crazy, so I got to close it, let it cool down. And so I'm scrolling. I think it was on Instagram or maybe it was like YouTube or something, YouTube Shorts, and I saw this thing about Bad Romance by Lady Gaga is that's like the harmonization, right? Banger. Mm-hmm. But it was the Alvin and the Chipmunks version of Bad Romance. And the harmonization was pretty good. Like they were harmonizing it pretty well. So I went and I'm like, you know what? Let me listen to the full version of Alvin and the Chipmunks' Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. And I'm going to die because I listened to Alvin and the Chipmunks when I was very, very little. And it brought back memories, man. Like it slapped. Alvin and the Chipmunks' Bad Romance, banger. No one can tell me otherwise. Absolute banger. So there's your... So again, circle the trust. Everybody in the chat and Zach, Ryan, Rocco, and Brad won't know about it unless they listen and watch this show.
Well, Ryan is in here right now. So
all right, Ryan, you didn't hear anything I just said, but yeah, that's my unhinged story of the day.
All right, you wanna?
All right, yep, there we go. Yep.
All right.
I never told you the song, Ryan, but you know about it.
Here's my water of the day.
Sparkling water.
Oh, wait. Oh, Jesus. Is he about to join for this?
I have to record. I have to record Locked On NFL 1 minute ago.
Oh, all right. You go. If he joins.
Well, no, I'm getting the StreamYard set up right now. So once I'm done with that. All right. Ryan said go ahead. You got it.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Go Orioles! 4-game sweep. Oh, that one was not as smooth.
You still downed it though. You did your job.
Oh,
job's finished.
Job not finished.
You doing more?
Oh well, yeah, later. But
man,
yeah, I'm actually going to play mini golf right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay. I will keep everyone updated on my mini.
Yes. Make sure to put that in Holy Shirts and Pants.
Yeah. So Holy Shirts and Pants will know about my mini golf.
Yeah. So if you want to see Zach's adventures at mini golf, be sure to subscribe to channel memberships. I think that's it. So we'll wrap up here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Ryan Ripken Show. We are making. Yeah. I'll get. Hold on. Let me get all 3. Here we go. All 3. Yep. We're sweeping in all directions, all different sizes. Yep. Sweeping it up.
Sweep it.
Sweep.
All right, we should get off.
All right.
This is getting
Thank
out
you
of
for
hand.
tuning in. We'll be back here. We'll continue. Again, our mission here is to go live after every single Orioles game, so we're going to be trying to do that. Orioles started a 3-game set with Boston, so we'll be right back here after game 1 of that. So again, like, subscribe. We'll be back here soon on the Ryan Ripken Show. Peace.
Bam, bam, bam.